Buenos días. I am Groot. I am Groot. I am Groot. Vean la serie, la miniserie de I am Groot. Muy bueno. 5 capítulos, súper cortitos. A mi hija le encantan. Vamos a ver. El día 2, Grupo B del torneo de Africa TV, StarCraft League. Liga de StarCraft Remaster. Tenemos a 4: Hero, Shuttle, Barracks y Gaemo. Hero y Shuttle son conocidos, muy buenos. Barracks y Gaemo son nuevos dentro de lo que va a pasar. Entonces, denme un segundo para ir a buscar agua, porque se me olvidó traer agua. Y si voy a estar hablando como 1 hora y media, probablemente me va a dar sed. Así que voy igual. Espérenme. Los dejo con esto para que avance. De ahí viene como parte de la partida. Las partidas siempre son lentas.
Yeah, I think it's A, but for this, I'm like, I don't know if this is really like a tier 1, 2, 3, 4 lineup.
Yeah, I think it's literally
Casi tampoco
just
fue
a
tanto.
point scheme for how
Me
you
echaron de
make
me.
it into recent
Yeah.
ASLs. I think that's exactly what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's like,
Tarara.
yeah, Hero keeps
Vamos a
getting
ver.
like top 4 in like every ASL.
Silencio el
and,
teléfono.
like, you know, Gameo makes it into every ASL, but he always goes out in the first round, right? And I think Barracks made 1 second round or something, so I guess that's how they got it. But it's a lot of these players are pretty neck and neck, but maybe not this guy. Like, I would be shocked if Hero doesn't make it. I would be shocked. I think that last season and the season before, he looked like maybe the best player.
Oh, yeah,
Like, I
man.
actually think Hero's going to win an ASL in the next few.
Hero's got a very different way of playing Zerg, and his Zerg freaks me out. Like, he's one of these Zergs that I watch and I'm like, ooh, I'll never beat you in my entire life.
Pum,
Like,
pum, pum.
you're
Ya.
so good with how you approach this, and
Estos gallos sí que se toman en serio la cuestión. Yo no están jugando. Estos gallos no están jugando. Es un deporte, la verdad. No tienen cara de, qué bacán, voy a jugar StarCraft.
Yeah,
Tienen
okay.
cara de, oh my god,
I would
me estoy
agree.
jugando
It's
la
not-
vida,
he
mi
doesn't
pega.
really play an abusive style. He plays a very smart style.
Ay,
He reminds
¿por qué
me of Sophie a
tendrán
little bit,
esos
where
como
it's
audífonos
like,
chicos? He
you
pensado
figure out
que
Crush Harvey
tienen
some of the
música,
tactics he was using.
como
Do you
arriba,
remember
onda
that game on,
tienen
like, Polypoid from
tienen
ASL where
como
he
el sonido del
forced the
juego
army to walk
y
in
en
this weird
los
direction, then caught the
y en
Valkyries
los
that were
audífonos
trying to
tienen
come up?
música.
Yeah.
It was like
También
the
puede
most
ser que
beautiful dance ever to
es que si fueran aislantes de
crush a
sonido,
situation that he
no
was not
tendría para qué
supposed
tener
to
un
win,
cable, po.
and
Le
he
sacáis el
crushed
cable.
it, and
¿Para qué
it's
vaya a
like,
tener esa
oh
cuestión
my
que te molesta
God,
ahí?
Hero.
¿Cachai?
He's
Mira
just-
cómo lo
he's
hincha el
something
cable.
else.
Yeah, he's a scary
Así
player.
que ¿dónde me meto este cable?
His opponent, though,
Por atrás
I
del
mean, this
hombro, por
guy
atrás del hombro, para atrás.
really,
Ahí no te va a hinchar.
he kind of reminded me of a tough ladder Zerg.
Para
Like the
atrás,
scary
ahí.
ladder Zergs that you play against, like the faceless barcode warriors.
Tiro
This is
para
going to be an
atrás,
interesting
así.
TVZ. I do think that Hero is clearly favored.
Ya bueno, no tenemos para qué verle las caras, esa
I
es la
would be
gracia de ver un
shocked if he
replay.
didn't take this.
Yeah,
Ah, yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm
Oh,
picking him to win this
primer
group,
match.
and whatever group he has
Hero
in the next round,
y
I think
Gaemon,
that's
Go-
good. Just put
Go-
that in there
Gaemo,
next time.
G
But,
Gaemo,
I mean,
G
Gaemo
Gaemo.
is dangerous.
G
He's
Gaemo.
strong. He normally qualifies in the first qualifier of
Es un
each
jugo de limón
season.
de la
Let's see
chiqui.
what he can do against Hero.
Yeah, guys, we're ready. This is game 1 here in Group B. ASL Season 14 is on. Let's see who goes on to the winners match between these two Zergs.
Música, no. Esto era este mapa. Es muy entretenido este mapa. Y por supuesto que no pude ver cómo se llama el mapa. Pero lo irán a decir.
All right, we have Hero here in the bottom right. And
Tan,
in
tararán.
the top right, we have Gaemo.
Abajo está Gemo y arriba
And
está
of course, it's a
Hero.
two-player map, so I think,
Y los dos son Zerg.
the ZVZ gets a
Lo bueno
little
de
more
las partidas de
straightforward
Zerg contra
in this
Zerg
situation,
I always feel
son
like ZVZ
cortitas.
gets more interested in a two-player
Son
map.
ultra
I think it's a lot
rápidas.
more cheesy.
¿Cachai? Al tiro el que gana o el que
The
pierde.
paths
No.
are, more predictable.
Las estrategias son
Yeah,
de
okay, that's
5
fair.
minutos,
It's a little bit
6
less of,
minutos, a lo más
kind
10
of a
minutos.
you know,
Muy difícil
whenever you're
que
on a
esto
four-player
llegue
map,
más
there's
allá
sort
de
of a
los
probability puzzle
los 10
you're trying to
minutos.
sort. Like, you know, if you find them right away, there's
Se está acabando el
opportunities there, but if
aceite.
you don't, then there's a certain set
No,
of
oye,
parameters
pero,
you have to
¿sabes
follow
qué?
unless you're willing to take
Eso es pura
risks.
inexperiencia. Necesito
But I do
prepararme
think some
para
of the,
empezar a streamear.
wildest ZVZs have been ones where we see,
Espero
you know,
que,
someone go for a quick
que
pull
esto
and
los
then
entusiasme
wrap
y si quieren
around,
jugar
wrap
avísenme. Yo
around,
soy
move around the
pésimo, pero me
overboard, you know
encanta
what
el
I'm saying?
StarCraft.
And surprise.
Esto es como un deporte.
Yeah, you're actually making me
Es
remember
demasiado
some games now,
bacán.
like
Y el
in it,
StarCraft
Soul
Remaster, lo
was
hermoso
like
fue
hitting
que
hatchery on a
no
two-player
hicieron
map.
nada
Yeah,
distinto.
that's right.
Solo lo
Saw
hicieron
that,
verse
but-
mejor, correr mejor.
Yeah, that's stuff would
Y
be very, very cool.
calidad de vida, mejoras de calidad de vida, los
Yeah,
replays,
I guess you're
que sea
right, like,
16 por
just cheese in
9.
general, 'cause
Pues yo
I don't
jugué
think about
hasta como el
Zerg, but
2013
Zerg is something where,
y
like,
jugué
they're
como en la
gonna Zerg
pantallita
as a
de
proxy
3-4
race in
que
general, but
se
we
corta.
haven't even seen that
¿Cachai?
on the
Se corta así.
two-player maps, so yeah, I
Y
guess
era
there's a
un asco,
fairly large
un
range of
asco.
what can occur
Pero
here,
era el StarCraft,
considering you
era
know
lindo.
exactly where your opponent is and you know how to scout them if you need to for whatever situation.
Algo está
Wasn't
haciendo Hero,
the player
porque
that
se quedó pegado en
set a
9.
cool speedling build that you and I were not familiar with? Was he the guy
¿Cachai?
that did that?
¿Qué le pasó a
Oh,
Hero?
I can't recall actually.
Ah, parece que está haciendo un pull.
I mean, Hero has.
Oh no, maybe that was
Oh.
Sulky. Oh
every.
shoot, maybe
every
I'm wrong.
build.
Sorry,
A
go ahead.
ver.
Well, they actually. There's a lot of overlap
¿Viste?
between them too.
Hizo
I think Sulky and
antes
Hero
la
are the
cuestión.
best, like,
¿Se van a
macro
topar?
Zergs rather than
Sí,
micro
se van a
Zergs,
topar,
whereas
se van a
Sulky
topar.
is the best
Ahí-
micro
oh,
Zerg.
no.
Yeah.
A lo mejor no lo ve.
But, yeah, like.
Oh,
I
lo
think
vio.
Hero
Lo
has
vio como
so
por
many
2 segundos.
different
No.
ways that he plays this game. It's actually crazy.
Lo vio por medio segundo.
And he is going to field the first Zerglings out onto the map.
Uh.
To send those up. It looks like the hatchery coming.
Lo van a
over
pillar
there
al
quickly
tiro a los
for
Zerglings.
game,
Oh, no.
but he's a full
¿Qué?
plus. There it is. He's
Mm.
running around the Overlord like you were talking about.
No,
Yeah,
pero.
he's gonna send these lings
Ah,
out
los
here.
gallos saben por dónde va a mandar el
Was
Overlord.
a-
Ese es el nivel.
At least in similarity in that they both had cool gas right away. Usually the
Increíble.
guy
Yo
that's
soy
cool in gas,
absolutamente
a little bit
ciego
later
a
is-
todas
is
esas
technically
tácticas.
in a better position if they don't get punished
Yo
because
diría,
they just
oh,
have the extra drones.
qué raro.
It's
No ha hecho
important to
nada.
note that this is really
¿Cómo
the
no ha hecho
only
ningún
match in the whole
Zergling?
game where you have Warcraft 3 levels of workers or even less.
Tiene 4 y el otro tiene como
Yes,
6.
that's right.
Pero
They're
los tiene
attacking
los
with their
6
little ghouls,
allá.
but they can't mine wood 'cause there's no
Si igual
wood.
el tiempo para viajar de algún lado al otro del mapa influye.
Oh, good scout here. Gamo's gonna find him here.
No lo puedo matar.
And,
Y boom, vamos para adentro.
This is going to be a pretty big attack. I
Tucu,
mean,
tucu, 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 tucu,
two links hatching.
tucu.
I don't know if more drones are going to hatch. That's going to be the big tell on how Gamo's going to be able to handle this.
Yeah, look at this. Like, oh my god, the
Ooh.
flank is absolutely fantastic. I love the one ling in with the drones too. Really high
Dos
IQ
drone.
plays here, but 2 drones fall immediately. The other lings.
Ay, el otro
after
métale.
these lings
No,
falling
ya
into the main base, the
está,
drones
bo.
being pulled to the gas.
¿Cachai que esto se ve como cuando tú jugáis, pues? Porque Gaemon, Gaemon, Gaemon,
So, I mean, right
no
now,
sé
Hero
cómo
wants
se
to
llama.
not only try to do damage, but
Es más
also
nuevo.
lengthen the
Y la
time
cagó
this is gonna
que-
take where- okay, hold it. This is
Que
a
se
great
ve como
surround here.
terrible, pero.
Hero's gonna come in here. The drones are misplaced.
Claro.
They're gonna get here a little bit too
Cacha
late.
cómo estiran, cómo controlan los Zerglings,
man,
increíble.
right now,
Y,
Hero
hay-
goes on the
y Speed,
ropes.
sacó Speed.
Yeah, Hero's doing a fantastic job. Gamo is trying so hard to fight back here.
Yum, yum,
But
yum.
like, even if he holds this, the Spire is already making. He's got to get those drones back on the minerals.
Yeah, no kidding. And look, Hero's doing the right job of both doing damage, and then he runs away. He's like, all right, no, let's keep the pressure on here. Let's not overextend. Let's generate the threat. And he may actually continue to pursue here. Let's see. I don't see enough. I'm sorry, I don't see a
Oh,
layer
qué
or a
tuto.
spire even
Oh.
for, Gamo. So
Perdón.
he's going to have to go for an Evo chamber
Claro,
score,
y
and
con
this
eso,
just
con
puts
ese hincha pelota,
the, defending Zerg in an
lo dejó súper
extremely
atrás. Yo creo que va a hacer un
spot.
par de
Even
Mutalist.
right now, I'm not
Y este
sure
gallo va a
if he's
entender
gonna be able
que.
to even last
Ok,
through
está
this.
bien.
Now, remember,
No sabe
it's
dónde
two
está
patches
todavía.
versus, one. Hero being the aggressor has the one. So that's half the production, but the tech is very strong. And even if Gamo survives the muta pressure,
Porque ni siquiera ha
there's
visto al
nothing
Overlord.
that, he can really do to stop Hero from also expanding as well.
Ah, te pillé.
Yeah, and I think that it's pretty clear here that he actually has to go for
Uy,
Ling
uy,
all
uy.
in. You see Hero, he's already prepared for it. He's making 3 mutas, I think, right now to go help defend in this 2-ling counterattack. Oh, just absolutely devastating,
He's not
man.
even watching, actually. He's so busy being a micro guy over here at the entrance that he actually lost half his drones in the main.
No,
From 4 to
¿viste?
2.
Hizo 2. El buen va a haber
This
2.
should end within the next
Sí.
minute, I think, right?
Chao, se acabó.
I think as soon as the mutas hit his base, he's going to GG, to be honest.
Claro.
The Spore is going to be too slow.
Mira,
There's already
no
a sum
está
going up
sacando
into his
nada.
main. Hero just
Ay.
absolutely mangling Gamo.
Dude,
Like,
I mean,
this
this
was
is a
not even
Au,
close.
se metió el dedo al ojo. No.
Game. Total punish here.
Uh,
Again, Hero very crafty.
Claro,
fighting
ya,
those
GG.
lanes and
¿Por qué
getting
sufres?
the
No
mutas
sufras más.
And I mean, I think these mutas can kill all these
No
drones
sufran más.
before the Spore is even done.
Eso,
GG.
sí, GG.
Short game to start it off, but that is what most CBCs are.
Y ahora
Like it
vamos.
has everywhere in the
Chattel
last,
contra
5 or 6
Barracks.
years, Scooby-Doo
Barracks es un poco más conocido. Yo lo he visto jugar un par de veces, pero no me acuerdo que lo hayan invitado. A lo mejor a la season pasada, la 13. Terran contra Protoss. Chattel, el Proto, es bueno. No es de los campeones. Que yo sepa, no ha ganado ninguno. Que me puedo acordar. Pero es bueno. O sea, deberíamos tener en la final de los winners una bonita partida de Protoss. Arriba está Chattel, abajo está Barracks. Salieron en las mismas partes que el otro. A lo mejor son los únicos dos spawn de ¿cómo se llama? De este mapa. Porque no vi los spawn. Me imagino que no, en verdad. Debería tener por lo menos 3. Claro, 3. Porque ahí está a las 11 y a las 7. Más o menos. No, a las 11 y a las 6 están las otras partidas. O a las 11 a las 7. Vamos. Viste, mira, minuto 46. Al segundo 46. Segundo. Va. Va a ser su muralla. Oye, pero ¿qué eso es? Va a ser su muralla. Y el otro por eso manda un proto al tiro, un pro. Un pro. Y ahí se hace la muralla de los protos. Sí. Y ya no puede pasar.
Very fast depot in barracks right there.
Yeah, I actually was doing a dub
lo sacó.
So the reason for that is that he doesn't want
a pelear.
He doesn't want the nuisance of the probe being inside of his base. We should point out that on Shuttle's side of the map, he basically opted to go for pylon at his entrance and gateway, and normally that is followed up with a gas steal into an expand. It's basically what we saw Mini do, actually.
No.
Like
Lo salvó.
Basically take the preventative measures to not get in the pickle that they were in earlier.
¿Cachai? Solo hinchando las pelotas para que no haga la barraca. El otro ahí todo tranqui.
But you see that Shuttle is actually going with the
me imagino que ¿cómo se llama? Medio frío. Me imagino que la estrategia es hacer dragón con rango para poder romper la muralla que está haciendo el Terra.
But yeah, if Shuttle goes like directly into pressure against the wall and Barracks isn't able to get like a bunker out here quickly, that could be a great play for him. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what he's going to go for though.
You know, it's funny what this
actually
starts to look like here is
era
kind of
el game.
like 1998 game. Right, where the Terrans walled off right away.
Claro, y los Marines o las unidades biológicas de los Terran no sirven para nada contra los Protoss. Un celo te come los Marines, pero hay que pegarle. Después sirven contra los tanques, los celos, para tanquear los primeros golpes y después llegar con los dragones y matar con rango los tanques. A 3 minutos y medio, la natural, la expansión natural. Está haciendo... va a ser un tanque. Voy al tiro. Ahí en el dragón. Le pegan las poroteras. Los marines con las poroteras. Y el otro puede ver lo que está haciendo. Si para eso tú andas. A ver, ¿qué va a hacer? Ah, ya, va a ser dragón con rango. ¿Y qué haces tú para responder? Tanques con rango. Tanques con siege. ¿Viste? Ahí está haciendo el
I think a
siege.
withdrawn way to play from Shuttle, which is not bad. He's basically
Yeah.
just,
Ahí va 4
hurrying to
marines y un
get
tanque. Corre.
Yeah, it seems
¡Ah!
that way, and he
Ay,
might not
ay,
get
ay.
prepared
Ay, ay,
for
ay, ay,
that
ay.
wall. Like he probably had a gas steel build
Cacha, un
ready.
puro
Yeah,
tanque.
so the fact that
Se
Barracks
puede
took that away
comer
from
a
him
esos
is just
dragones.
kind of falling back on a very
dejó, pero-
standard PVT opener. But
Muévelo,
either
muévelo,
way,
muévelo.
we are gonna have a little push
No.
coming out from Barracks, and one of those goons has already taken a lot of damage here.
You got to be careful as Protoss because, you know, the Dragoons are very strong against Terran, but you don't have a lot of them. So, like, when one takes a bunch of damage, it's a problem. This is an interesting matchup in that each side has, like, a small set of units,
A ver,
and each
A ver.
one of those units has
¡Guau!
a very important role, like this
¿mejor
Vulture does.
o peor?
You know,
Creo
the
que
Vulture
mejor.
is killed in 6 shots.
Puedo estar
from a
como
Dragoon,
echado,
so you got to be
así.
careful. At the same time, you know,
Pero me
the
puedo quedar
Marines and the
dormido.
tank can just get close to any of these goons and shoot it down.
Dormí mal, dormí
Sometimes
poquito.
you can be killed with a push. And I might be wrong, but I don't see SCVs being made from Barracks.
Todo
in the
está
last
muy
shot
brígido
or
el
two we
ambiente.
had.
Estas
I
cosas
think he's
me
actually going to do a
hacen
timing
estar
attack here.
intranquilo.
That would be interesting.
Todas las
Like, he has
tonteras
been
que
making
pasan acá.
Marines nonstop. It's not uncommon to make a couple additional
No, ha
Marines and
hecho
some tanks and
las
push everything
minas.
back to lay mines
Yo
on the
creo que
map.
hizo Siege primero.
You
Uy.
know, that kind of gets the contain
Cacha,
away from
lo
the
que le
base.
le
I'm
pegó
not sure.
20
Like, he is
justo.
adding a second
Cero
factory,
armadura
so
tiene
he
esa
should
cuestión.
be putting the pressure on. Look at that, though. That is a lot of Marines. Like, he's pretty serious about this.
Yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good job with kind of zoning with the Vulture,
y
just creating a threat that it kind of pulled
Ni
stuff
siquiera
back.
cerró la muralla. Le faltó la
I want
forge.
to be clear,
La
this can go
forja.
either way depending on control. You can have games like this play out 100 times, and like sometimes the Terran wins,
Ahí va, ahí va, ahí
sometimes
va.
the Protoss wins. It just kind of depends on the
Ay, ay,
footsies.
ay, ay, ay.
And how they set this all up.
Oh.
And so he's going to put mines over here on the side. It does plant. Okay, he does see it with the observer. Excuse me.
And look, now he has siege mode ready during the push. This is a fascinating build from Barracks. Like, I've never seen exactly this. Super cool, though. Now the goons are going to try to come in. He has 8 goons, which is definitely enough to kill tanks, but getting on top of those tanks can be a bit rough.
Oh my God, this mine!
Oh my god.
¡Wow!
He kills 2 tanks but loses 8 goons
Ay,
tasteless.
le
That
dejó-
can't be a good trade.
And with the gateway as part of the wall, I mean,
¿Va a
he
haber
should
de?
have two more back at his main, but that's going to be a big punish to the production here. And now he can get up
Oh,
where the probes
no.
are. He
Va a
tries
haber
to
de?
drive the mine with that Dragoon into the
Sí,
Marines,
porque
but he
ahora va a
doesn't
tener
get a
menos
single
producción.
Marine. And now a second bunker's being made here. And keep in mind, if the Protoss is contained, it's a pretty perilous game, man. It's extremely hard to ever recover from that.
But he's still trying to fight. There's only 1 tank. Oh god, the probes are all going to start falling now. So I think that this is going to get from bad to worse at this point. But I think he will save the Nexus, right? Like, the probes come out to fight with 1 tank left. He never got the Marines into a bunker.
I kind of can't believe this overextension here. This is wild to me.
Yeah, well, once you kill the tanks, that's like, the thing is, ranged goons massacre Marines, right? And then he, like,
Igual no le
uses
afectó la
his,
economía, o sea,
probes to
poquito.
fight, but, like,
Ah, no, pues, pero le rompió el
the
gateway.
amount of probes that were lost, the fact
Ah,
that
pues ya tiene
Barracks
3 más.
does
Ya
have,
no,
a
no es
couple
tanto el impacto, o
factories
sea,
at
es,
home,
pero no es.
I still definitely like his
Todavía tiene para
position here,
defenderse.
right? It's
Ahora
a
este
super
weón
late
tiene
bird.
que
It's not like
llenarle de
Shuttle has
minas
it
para que
going.
no pueda salir.
Yeah, again, I think Barracks could have done a better job back there. He sort of jumped the shark, so to speak. You know, it's okay to take your time a little bit and not try to get that closer.
Ah,
but
claro.
now
Pero
the
los
Protoss
observadores te
is in good
defienden de
shape.
las
Once
minas.
you break that
Es el
push,
counter.
the Protoss has a lot more freedom on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, with his 3 gates, he's going to be able to field an army that can kind of, you know, prevent any further damage, at least for now. And he is going into Reaver, which is going to be very, very solid because there's a lot of
No
options
tienen
here
la
for
armadura
Barracks.
las
Like, he can
minas.
actually go into a
Se comen los
secondary
20.
push
Oh,
based on the
pasó,
amount of stuff that
pero
he kills. Or
jabonado.
he can go ahead and just play a macro game. And either one, I think the Reaver tech is very nice against.
Yeah, I think that anytime you have a game where you survive a push as Protoss, a quick one like that, I mean, I think Reaver tech is a must. Because
I agree.
the Reaver just, first of all, one of the most common follow-ups, and I think maybe
Reaver,
the best and most
o sea,
logical
las
follow-up
oruguitas.
is to just mass up factories, like
Sacar
the Seaman,
oruguitas.
right?
Eso es lo que
Because if you try to make
lo
a
que
command
está ahora
center,
en juego.
or go for a starport, it's like, well, they just see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gave up eBay early on if you're going to do a build. So You basically go for a powering push, which gives it. It's
Pium,
like a
pium.
6-4 matchup at this
Pium,
point in time for the
pium.
Protoss. Like your
Creo
push
que-
failed. It doesn't mean the
Creo
Protoss
que
can't
debería
die in
haberse
the push.
instalado
They probably
el
should've.
Terran, debería
If
haberse
both
instalado
sides
cuando
play perfectly.
afuera de la base, hacer una
And the Reaver-
contener.
Sorry, go ahead.
Aunque, claro, el otro
I
saca
was
un
just gonna
River
say, like,
y ahí la contención no dura mucho.
Also, he doesn't have to
¡Wow!
push.
Ah,
Like,
murió.
you can go 5-fact and just make a third command.
Yeah, that's
and
true
just
too.
be like this like you said, I think one of the important things that people need to realize is Protoss sees what you're doing, like always in these situations, and so they have to prepare for the push whether it's going to come or not. So like expanding sometimes can be good if you think like, oh, I think they're going to hold it, and you just expand, and Protoss is sitting there with all these units, and they're like, oh, okay, well I can't really attack into that, so I guess I expand too.
Yeah, it's
A ver.
it's
Ah,
a funny thing. I
no.
think it creates a
Ya,
more
va a llevar
later
2
game,
silos
if that
y
makes
debería
sense.
haber Debería haber una oruga. Porque esas unidades, como que la forma de micro, bajáis la oruga dispara y la volví a subir para que no le peguen. Entonces se transforma como en un skill based unit. Uy, 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 uy. Mira, mira, ahí van los tanques. Oh, oh. Le pegó igual. ¿Cachai? ¡Pah! Oh. Oh.
So good. Oh my
La
god. Yeah,
hizo.
Show is just doing such a fantastic job chasing this down. I really think Barracks, like, I did not.
Oh, perdió 2 silos y un dragón. Y mató como 5 tanques. Le fue súper bien. El Terran, la base del Terran es cuántos tanques tiene. Eso es. No es más que eso. Entonces, si lográis bajar la cuenta de los tanques, vaya a ganar.
Every move you make with them has to be the correct move. So I feel like he should have actually just waited a bit longer. Sometimes Terrans feel pressured when they're trying to go for an attack to just like go. But you see what can happen there. Like he lost like 7 tanks or something basically for free. Whereas if he had taken his time and like gotten like look what he's doing with these vultures. He's getting so much vision. He knows where everything kind of is. Wait for this type of intel. Mass up a little bit more so the Protoss can't just run you over, and then decide if you're going to push.
You know, it's a concept I want to mention here because, and by the way, going for Storm I think is the absolute perfect play. Once they've been on 2 base for a long time, is to basically just smother the army. I think going for carriers or Arbiter, that is not bad, right? Like those are always kind of great choices, but I think the Templars play is just better because
ya,
you
iba a
have a
ir.
big blob of Terran units and you
Tiene
want to just
varios.
wipe it out.
Tiene un celo
Just to
solo
kind of
para
rewind for a second
dejarlo
what we were talking
y
about.
atraer
I think this is
los
worth mentioning
disparos de
because
los
we have
cañones
more
y que se
DS games coming out,
automaten
like
sus
Stargate.
tanques
It's important to
con sus
always
propios
notice
cañones.
when you look at a
¿Cachai?
game, which ranged
Por
units
eso
are faster than
generalmente
others.
no los dejan,
Because a lot of
como por
times
ese
that will
peligro,
dictate
no los dejan
whether or
con
not
Siege a menos
when
de
you
que
lose a
ahí
fight,
vienen.
you just lose the
Le
game
voy a poner,
championship.
¿cachai?
Does that make sense?
Recién le pone
Yes,
Siege a todas
absolutely.
sus
That's
cosas.
one of the most important like,
Entonces tú como
speed and
protos,
range are the
tú quieres que te vean
most
llegar.
powerful
Quería hacer
upgrades in
escándalo.
RTS and the
¿Cachai?
two most important to look at for
Yeah.
unit interaction.
Uy.
Yeah, because like a moment like that, the tanks are running. It's like, well, they're not vultures, right? Like when vultures run away, like
Y eso
usually
es
one or
proceso
two
de
die,
limpiar, pues,
but,
está
like,
limpiando
they
el
get away,
camino
right? Like when tanks run, the dragoons can chase down
de las minas
a bunch of them.
antes de ir a atacar. Pues no va así a lo loco
Yeah, tanks
para
can't
que
really run away from
no,
everything. You, like, you
no le
really,
bajen sus unidades.
you know, so much of Terran is hinged upon not screwing up with your siege tanks because they're very powerful, but they just have to be used correctly. They have to be in the right spot. But honestly, look at this. Like, Barracks is macroing well. It's just that Shuttle
Tiene el
has
tremendo
a lot of
ejército.
bases
¿Cuánto
to run,
tiene?
right? He's going up to
166.
bases, has a lot of
Y de
supply,
protos.
but not
El
enough
humano debería
supply
tener más que el
to
protos
kill
para poder
Barracks,
pelear
I
de igual a
think.
igual.
Like, Barracks is very
Porque
smart at
cada
making
la
a
unidad
lot
de
of
los
these
protos son
turrets,
las
gets
mejores
mines
unidades
in his
como
main
una por
base,
una.
he's got a
Por
good
eso ocupan
spread.
más,
So
más
I think if
como
Shuttle
población
attacks
cuando
in
sigue
here,
una.
that's
Un
not
Celot
the
cuesta
worst
2,
thing
un
you
Marín
can
cuesta
do.
1.
I think you're supposed
En
to
teoría,
just
2 Marín
slow
deberían
Barracks from
ganarle a
taking these
un
additional
Celot,
bases
pero no es así si
and
es que
just
no
continue
los
macroing
manejáis
as
bien.
we see from him.
Yeah, I agree.
Piu, piu, piu,
The
piu.
next big step we want to watch for, excuse me, and it's really going to be on the Terran side here is
Oh, le vi a
if
los
he gets third
chattels.
base.
Es decir, oh.
If he doesn't get a third base, this game kind of dries up, right? One thing about this map is like none of the third bases are actually easy for the Terran to take. I guess compared to some other maps, right? Some maps like the third base is a freebie, right? This map is not one of them, which is probably why we saw that push come out, by the way, from the Terran.
Definitely could be.
Okay, this is a big catch. You got to be careful being too close
Pium,
to
pium,
a
pium, pium.
powered up two-base Terran as
Hoy tiene
Protoss,
millones.
because this can happen.
Son buenas las
That
motos.
was, I think, 7 or 8 Dragoons, which is
Son
a lot.
baratas, ocupan puro mineral. Podéis poner
that was a little
millones de
bit,
minas
that was
que
definitely a
si no
mistake
estáis
that we
atento
just saw there from Shuttle.
te pueden destruir un ataque
Anytime
solo con las
you do
minas
that
que son
as
entre
Terran,
comillas
it's
gratis.
especially on maps like this or maps
Son
like
muy
this
buenos
that
para
have
enmidiar a
very
los Templar,
different
que son los gallos que tiran los
planes, right? You
rayitos,
can't do something like that really
que es
on
la
point
forma
where
de
everybody
pelear
joins
de los
up
protos
immediately.
contra
But
muchas
here it's
unidades.
like, okay, these lanes are so vastly different, you can't
De hecho, la
actually
debilidad de los
overwhelm units in that area. The units that are there
de las
are there,
motitos
the
es que
vultures
tienen
can
poca
run up
energía,
and
entonces
surround.
les tiráis
And
una
that's just a great
tormenta
pickoff, right? Like, you
y
gotta
una
now
storm,
remake, like, 8 more
y con eso te podéis
Dragoons.
defender. Podéis matar, no sé, 4 o 5
exactly.
de una
And
storm.
winning little,
Están un
fights
par de
like that
segundos
is
abajo
extremely
y listo.
important. So we're gonna see the attempted bust. Protoss is maxed out, by the way.
¿Cachai? Ahí están los silos, el despliegue de silos.
Templars here.
Porque la composición de los Terran de los humanos no... Oh, ¿cachaste? Ese golpe estuvo buenísimo.
Will pick off some more,
Oh.
and this I think was pretty damn good for Shuttle, but the game is not
Le
completely
destruyó
over
la
yet. I think
mitad
that
del
right now
ejército.
Barracks has to get
Vámonos.
vultures out
¡Pum!
now. Like, if he does not get out there and
Porque
at
como no
least
tiene
deny a
unidades que
base,
ataquen aéreo,
this game is gonna
te
end.
subí a los shuttles y
Yeah, and
con
it
eso
does
estáis.
feel like we're
Estáis
getting
listos.
closer and closer to the end of this game in
Como,
general
no,
here
y no
for
tenéis
Terran. Their supplies
no tenéis
even
como
down,
minerales
but,
para
Shuttle's supply
pa
is
no
going to
gastar.
spike back up
¿Cachai?
shortly.
Tiene gas para no gastar, pero los humanos no tienen un
Then we've
ghost.
got the Reavers landing once
Pero
more.
¿de qué te sirve un ghost? ¿Ahora? Nada.
Trying to
No
just,
sirve para nada.
buy time.
Ah,
This is gonna
podría
be do or
tirar
die here.
Lock.
I think it's very unlikely
Lock
Terran
es
can make the
una
push work, but he's got it
super
dry. He doesn't have a lot of
situacional.
options. Keep in mind,
Retiráis Lock
the,
para asegurarte
not
de que vaya a matar a
all
los
from one
shuttles,
source,
pero
so
no sé
as scary
si
as Protoss is, if you
vale
put a
la
bunch
pena
of
porque
tanks
tenéis que
and
invertir
vultures
tanto,
out,
hacer el Saiyan
at the
Vessel,
natural, you can
hacer la
then,
expansión del
work
Saiyan
off
Vessel
tanks
para los
and kill off all the other bases and basically win that.
¿cómo se llama? Los Ghosts.
That-
Y
yeah, that's
después,
exactly what he's going
recién,
for. That's
hacer
why
los
he's brought
Ghosts.
his SCVs as well. He's
Desarrollar
gonna throw out
la-
missile turrets. This is a great minefield.
la habilidad.
He's already spread his tanks reasonably well.
Después hacer la
I
cuestión de la
agree that I
magia para que
don't
puedan
think
tirar
this is
dos
gonna
en vez de
end up working
uno.
out for him, but it's a great idea, 'cause if he gets that
Tenéis que
containment,
esperar.
you're
No,
right,
bueno.
he can start
Se
sending
puede,
smaller
pero no sé si
groups
sería lo
and
mejor.
picking off bases.
Ooh, this is a great scare shot here. Can the vultures
Oh.
He tried. He really tried. That
Buenísimo.
would have been amazing if they had, but he loses extra units.
Buenísimo.
Oh man, very good play there by Shuttle though. He's doing a fantastic job picking off everything on the edges.
The tanks are going to keep inching up here. It does feel like Protoss has exactly what you need to bust this, right? There's so many shuttles here. There's enough
Ya, pero
zones to
¿cachai que
probably
igual
soak mines anyways, but I gotta
el
say,
Terran
Barracks
está
is a
haciendo un
pretty
poco lo que les
scary
dije, po. Está como
position.
haciendo una contención
Slowing them
afuera.
down if he can break it. Here we go.
Wow.
On top of absolutely
Wow.
everything. A huge mine hit upon those zealots. The shuttles actually
Tienen
fly
muchas.
past.
Oh my
Where
god.
are they going? I don't even like the shuttles.
Oye.
Dude, the shuttles are in the middle of the map. I don't
Está-
know
está
what's
apretado
going
igual.
on
Did
right
he
now. Did
fully
he
unload
attack,
those?
move them with everything?
No.
Boom.
He didn't, right?
Uy.
I don't even know if they had units in them at this
No,
point.
he didn't
but
for
sure.
certainly Barracks is going to win this game.
Well, if you don't break it down right. What's weird is I saw him load up Templars and then
Parece
I
que
didn't
no.
see like the storms I
Pero
was
tiene
expecting.
4 bases.
The idea is that you
Debería
have, like, 4
poder
storms that
como
basically soften
armar
us all
su
up.
ejército
Yeah,
antes, pero
Artosis,
está
I
tan
think that, Barracks is the favorite
separado.
right now. I mean, we're not out of the woods
como por
yet,
el
but
espacio donde está el
Yeah,
Terran,
the
Barracks,
shuttles
que
are,
probablemente
like, sitting in the middle of the map. I think that,
pueda perder
Shuttle has
shuttle.
literally lost the shuttles. You know how sometimes you lose a unit? Like it's not on a hotkey,
Sí.
so you're like, oh, did it die? Okay. You know, I think that's the situation that we're in right now because they're just sitting there. There's no reason for those shuttles to be down there.
okay. I mean, Protoss is contained. Basically, what we talked about, you know, Barracks needing to do, he did it. And now you see, like, you know, as scary as Protoss is, especially on these maps like this where there's not like another main to make a bunch of gateways, this becomes a problem, right? Because Protoss are always bad against Terran if it's really bottlenecked. because siege tanks and mines are so strong in congested areas. And like, look, he just has to fraction off a tank or two here or there. Let's see if these shuttles have stuff in them.
I know. I don't know if they do or not.
I almost want to like have an instant replay of that because I kind of, to be honest, I don't always watch when the zealots come out for the drop because that's sort of a given, right?
Yeah.
But I felt like certainly he didn't unload enough.
They flew right over the army, man. Like, I wasn't watching either because I just assume what's going to happen.
En todo caso, no es la partida más fome. La más fome es Terran contra Terran.
Nothing was exploding back there. The shuttles just flew over. Maybe they were empty. I'm not entirely sure. He's going to bring him in.
Bueno, para eso son los silos. Para ir primero y comerse todas las minis.
It's just too strong for Barracks.
Yeah, not even 2-1, just 1-1. But I mean, this is going to be enough. Now let's watch the Psy Storms. That's a really good storm. That's about as good as you could ask for. Can he get another one or two?
Wow.
The problem
He's
is
still going to break it.
As much as we watch this position now, we need to look at, see, this base is gone. The base to the upper right on the mini-map of there is gone. And so, yeah, I mean, the Protoss breaks free.
Desapareció.
He doesn't have the same kind of engine behind him to produce. So I think that Terran is still... I think quite fairly in the lead here, and I think even setting up another container is going to be not hard at all, right? I mean, look, he's just going to rally more units across the map. I'm sure the armory upgrades...
Claro, el gallo está reagrupándose justo ahí afuera.
Y
llena con minas de nuevo, y pone los tanques de nuevo, y va a empezar a cortar, y va a decir, ah, mira, hay una expansión aquí. Oh... Perdió. Yeah. Winners. Hero con Barracks. Está bueno. Espera, vuelvo al tiro. Vuelvo al tiro. Tengo que escuchar nada.
So we have in the top left there, Barracks. It's a beautiful magenta Terran.
A beautiful magenta Terran.
Dude, magenta is the best color for Terran. You can tell that Barracks is a serious Terran player by the fact that he chooses magenta as his color.
It is a good color. I've never been a fan of this kind of...
Pero no tomé desayuno.
To be honest.
No?
Yeah.
Like that one? It almost
me comí unas nueces.
a little bit.
It does.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
oh no,
you know,
están los dos muy cerca.
Some people might choose their color for aesthetic reasons. They're like, I like how this pops or whatever. And then I think some people choose it because they're like, this looks the worst to my opponent.
Right? When they pick brown, it's like this blends in with the mini-map.
Yeah. But, I mean, who doesn't shift the colors to red for opponent on mini-map, right? And a lot of people just shift it to their teal, and they're playing against red.
I want to give a quick shout out here because I've been casting with COVID. Like every 5 minutes, my girlfriend's been coming by here with tea to keep me alive. So shout outs to Miss Tasteless here. This is like you know those like F1 races where the car has to like pull over to the side.
Está hablando el comentarista gringo de que está con COVID, que la señora viene cada 5 minutos y darle té.
Oh man, look at
We got some foreigners here in the audience. If you come to Korea, guys, you gotta come see StarCraft event live. There's so many great esports events to see down here. I mean, this is one of the big appeals of Seoul in general. Is like literally
Están en Corea del Sur, en Seoul.
You know,
y uno de los atractivos son los eventos de esports. Eso están hablando de que si vais a Corea, sí o sí tenéis que ir a ver. Es como ir a Estados Unidos y ir a ver un partido de básquetbol, ¿cachai? O de fútbol americano. Tenéis que ir a ver un partido.
Honestly, ASL has
lo cacharon.
more fans in Korea than GSL, so I think it's gonna get hopping soon, Tasteless. It's gonna be the hottest club.
We're gonna use club terms right now.
Yeah, for sure we are. You kidding me? This is Club ASL.
So kind of a funny little thing that happened earlier. The Barracks went for CC first, and right as he
¿Se puede hacer murallas? Sí, eso está hecho para la muralla.
Keep in mind, he doesn't know what build order Hero's doing. Let's also not forget how the last day of ASL went, where it's like Mini went for a greedy quick nexus
Expansión.
and barely held.
Al minuto
He
2 y
doesn't know that
medio.
there's not a pool making, but interestingly enough, Hero's actually gone for 3 hatches before spawning pool.
Yeah, that's a strong counter, right? Like, this is probably the best thing that you could do if you're not already going for. Oh, and the drone block is really smart too. Like, Barrack should probably
Drone
attack that
block.
drone, honestly. But a second drone comes down. This is why Hero's so good, or at least part of it, right?
Dos
He's
escupos y
blocking
pa'
the
afuera.
scouting, so here as Barracks will throw down a bunker, whereas he literally doesn't need to do anything. Like, there's no units coming his way for quite some time.
Yeah, this is it's funny, like I feel like I never see this when someone goes Barracks first and gets
Me
away
pone
from
tan
it, but I
nervioso
never
los
get
Zerg.
the better spot.
No tiene nada. No tiene
Yeah.
ni una unidad.
Yeah, like, I mean, just the fact that he's like denied the scouting for this
oh.
long as well. I guess the SCV finally does come up and attack that drone. Hero did not pull a second one to help out
Ahí.
against it, so it's going to get a scout of the pool timing.
Well,
the pool is
You know, I don't
done,
think he does.
so he doesn't actually know when it finished.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can click on to confirm
Claro.
that. Now he may suspect it. You know, one thing about when you're at the highest levels, you kind of know what the
Pégale,
opponent's
pégale,
supposed
pégale,
to
pégale.
have here.
No.
Well, he
Pégale,
definitely
pégale, pégale.
knows now there's another half,
Oh.
right? Because he got up.
Eso se
and it
llama
was like
move and shoot.
335,
Es
and there
súper
was no
difícil de
layer,
hacer.
Right.
and he had known there was
No,
no
no
layer
es
down
fácil.
at the bottom, right?
Normalmente
So,
tú le ponís
he
como
knows
que
that there's
ataque
something out on the map,
la
something.
larvita esa. Y...
So
¿Cómo se llama? Y la larvita
it's kind of a funny game
para,
already. I mean,
pega
basically this
y
has
sigue
been
moviéndose.
Zerg has in the bottom
Pero
right.
estos gallos
That's like
controlan tan bien.
one of the mid-game goals
No,
of
se le
Zerg,
pasó otro.
normally
Oh,
in
yeah.
a CBT, right?
Ahora,
Is try
ahora
to
van
get a
los
hatch,
selling.
another main independent,
Que
but
igual les cuesta.
this
Porque
is,
también son
a
blanditos y
very
chiquititos.
different game. Now, oh wow. Okay, we're gonna see this build again, man. Remember casting this last season?
Doble armory.
Double
Yes.
armory. You know, we've gone
Ah, ya.
to pretty extreme places
Oh, oh,
right
oh,
now
oh,
in
oh.
this game. This
Mira,
is
todavía
actually
está
really
vivo.
exciting.
¿Cómo?
Even as a Protoss player, I'm like really excited about the direction this game's taking here because I've never casted this type of game specifically. CC first, the
Yeah.
3 hatch into heavy mutatech with the Terran going for double armory. So like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I don't even know who's actually favored here, but I do feel like
Oh.
it's going to be an insane slugfest of Goliaths
Oh.
and versus Mutalisks.
Well,
Sí,
this
las motos
looks to
pueden
me like the way
matar.
this game
Todos
should
esos
go.
los puede
This
matar
should be an
la moto.
extremely long game.
Yeah.
Because if you're going double armory, you are going to at least 2-2 before an attack, right? Like that's what makes the most sense. Like, I mean, you're just not going to have a very big
¿Se
army.
pitió
with
cuánto?
long
¿Tres?
positions. That's just
¿Tres o
the
cuatro?
way of things. So,
Entonces
I mean,
pitió
if you're going for a
100 de
minimum
mineral
2-2, that
y
means
él
that you're
cuesta
going to be maxed
75.
out. So, like, Barracks should not
y no
need to be
tenía
attacking
minas.
before max
Cuando
supply.
tenga minas,
And if you're
va a
going
poder
mech,
potencialmente
generally
matar
just
más
there's no way to
unidades.
kill you early
¿Son
on.
eficientes las motos?
And
Ya,
Hero's
ahí
economy
no
is
mató
so
nada.
big. Like, this
Entonces ahora va
is
perdiendo
the
50.
greediest game from both
Ya
sides
sí,
you could
es
ever
un-
see, and it's been back and forth
Es
where they're
un,
scouting
¿cómo
each
se llama?
other, and
Oh,
it
un
just
Goliath.
made
Que,
more and more
ah,
greedy
claro.
because
Va a ser
I mean,
doble armory.
both of them know that if they
Va a
were to
actualizar los
attack, their
Goliath.
opponent's just going to hold it and they're going to get behind.
Y
So,
vamos
we
a
are gonna
matar
see
porque
a
mata
big
todo.
game now, I think.
Aéreo y terrestre. Y no pega mal.
Yeah, this is going to be
No
fun,
pega
man.
mal. Aéreo pega muy bien.
I'm,
Y terrestre no pega mal. No es mucho.
I'm not
Pero
hyped
cuando
for
está
this one.
actualizado, sí.
I
Sí
think
pega.
I might have been wrong though. I thought he was going to start making mutas, but I see Hydras coming out here. And I
Claro.
think this might be another pivot.
Sí. Si
From
tú
the
veis,
Zerg side,
si veis los
because,
Goliath,
and
es
look,
mejor
I mean, I've played some
que hagáis
Terrans,
los
like,
¿cómo
historically,
se
like
llama?
obviously not like you Artosis or anybody who mains
Los
it, but
Serling. O sea,
I'm
va, los
sort of
Hydralist.
familiar with mech versus,
Porque son
you know,
baratos,
Zerg.
pegan de área,
And a lot of
pegan
times it's mass
harto,
muta, but
los
I wonder if
actualizáis
they
para que
saw this
corran,
flyer
son
and
buenas
thought, okay, we're
unidades.
gonna do a hard switch into Hydras because Goliaths are only good against mutas. They're not terrible against other stuff, but they're not the right unit. If that makes
Exacto.
sense.
Yeah,
No son
yeah,
terribles,
like a little
pero
Hydra
están
push
hechos
here
para
could be
evitar los
very, very
Mutalisks.
strong. If you can bust the bunker, it
Pero si
becomes really difficult for
pero
Terran to
Hero,
end up holding.
el
Oh,
Zerg.
he's going for Lurker. Okay, so
Oh,
this is an
wow.
alternate
Lurker.
way to play it too. Like against mech, this can be very strong because you don't get Academy quickly, and if you don't know the Lurker, normally this
Está
is not
preparado,
all
pero
it builds
así
up. Hero's economy is so
mentalizado.
big,
Este
this is
este
not
weón va a
all
llegar
in,
con
so I don't wanna
Mutalisk.
make
No,
it
no,
seem
Y va a
that way.
llegar con
Like,
los
he has a
Lurker y
huge
le va a
economy
pasar por
doing this.
arriba.
But normally this is just an all-in where it's like, okay, if there's not enough turrets around to see it and you make them go up the ramp, you win. So this is kind of
Oh.
crazy. And he has no idea. Like, look at those Goliaths going in the main. He thinks there might be Mutas coming.
Yeah. When you see the Lings come out like that, you think you're getting baited here. And so the Lurkers are going to
Oh.
come. Now, there's a bunker here. But again,
Ya,
Goliaths
todo eso
are not,
desapareció.
superior to Lurkers.
Y los
They're
peones
actually
no
not
los va a
good
poder
against
salvar.
Lurkers at all. I don't see any detection here.
Claro, no hay detección. No, no hay, no. Oye.
It's very tough.
Oye,
now, he
no.
walks forward to try to get this turret that's in the mineral line. And the
No.
Goliaths are actually going to walk
Desapareció,
over another
error de
lurker here
estrategia.
and try to get some kills, and they're
¿Podéis
not
matar
gonna do it.
esos
So,
lurkers?
even
Dale,
though I
pero
said
ya el
this
daño ya
would
está hecho
probably
ya.
be very long, Hero has taken the shortest route to victory, and it seems like it's going to work out, but we'll see. Like, if you can stabilize, maybe, but I think he's lost a lot of SCVs at this point as well.
Yeah, this is, I think, a little bit of an overextension. I mean, I get it, but yeah, I mean, this is like
Bueno, déjalo ahí, ándate a... Bueno,
technical
a
game
ver.
here on both sides. Like, we
¿Caché
went
que se
way
pueden ver
deep
en el
into,
mapita?
like,
Se pueden ver los cuadrados de dónde está
you know,
mirando los
people
gallos.
cutting corners, and then Hero
Yo que el
basically
set
saw
debería
this
estar haciendo
strategy that
macro, pero estos
really
gallos lo hacen
almost
tan
has
rápido
no
que no
place in a normal
necesitan...
PvC, right? I mean,
Mira,
we
ahí
don't
macro,
normally
pa,
have
pa,
mech as kind of
¿cachai?
the default,
Y
you know,
vuelve
but
al
we don't
ataque.
normally have 3 hatchet, we don't normally have
Está todo
CC first
construyéndose.
into double armory either, right? But he kind of saw the
Uy.
direction that Barracks is wanting to play, and Hero, being the really smart player he is, he said, well, I don't have to
Sí,
actually go
no,
mutas.
me va a
I
quedar ahí
mean, I'm
nomás.
ahead in so many ways. So he went for that lurker tech, and the reality is Barracks, you know, I think he might have anticipated Hydras. Even when I saw
Ay,
the
ay,
Hydras, I thought it was
ay.
going to be Hydra amassing. He did not anticipate lurkers, and we know that because he didn't even have scan, he didn't have a vessel. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the game hasn't ended quite yet, but I think
Ahí,
as far as, you
mando el
know, ways
lurker,
to dig
va a
yourself out of
limpiar.
this hole here for Barracks, there
Puro
really
daño, puro
aren't
daño.
a lot of realities where the Terran can, you know.
¿Qué si ahora lo mismo? No sé, ¿eh? No sé si mandáis más
it's a
lurker.
terrible situation. He is going to
Podría hacer
go,
unos
he's gonna
Serling
have a vessel
con
very shortly
Adrenaline
here. He is getting a
y te
comsat.
comí esa
Do you
base.
want to just
And
take
he's-
lurkers and put him at the bottom of the ramp at a certain angle and try to bottleneck it? I guess that can't happen now because he shot this down, but would that be the play? Kind of like when
Uy,
Protoss
uy, uy.
contain other Protosses.
No,
with
no, no.
drones. Like this, like this.
Uy,
Exactly.
Yeah,
uy.
yeah, that's definitely the most cost efficient that you can get. This is kind of forcing the siege tank now.
Oh.
Really, you need siege mode because you can't really come down the ramp with the tank because then the lurkers unburrow and move forward and burrow, and then the tank has to run up the ramp and it just becomes dirty. He might just try to run down and break it, but that would result in
Ya.
Goliath
Las pelotitas son buenas contra los lurkers porque le tiran el gas y ese gas a la larga mata a un lurker. O sea, una de esas habilidades es un lurker muerto. No va a sobrevivir. No hay forma de curarlo, nada. Entonces lo dejáis ahí y se va a morir. Creo que las unidades enterradas se regeneran más rápido. Entonces, pero aún así no sobreviven. Un gasecito.
No, it's very sad. It looks like he's going to go ahead and
Su
elevate
drop.
out some vultures here. Now, the vultures have some
Au,
heavy lifting
perdón.
to do. If he wants to come back
De
to
hecho,
this
vamos a
game, he has
correrlo
to
para allá.
basically
Ahí sí.
kill all those drones right there, and then clear the lurkers very cleanly, and then get a third base up. It
Pero está
seems
con una base.
unlikely.
Y esto cuentan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Está poniendo la quinta base.
Come up here towards the main. Now, I think the army already saw it, but I also know the Overlord's going to see it too.
¿Cachai? No,
There's no
olvídalo.
structure to catch it. Whoa, was that the tank or was that a Goliath?
Un tanque.
Yeah, well, it was exactly what I just said, right? Where it's like if you try to do this without siege mode, the lurkers just run up and burrow, and then the tank dies. Like I mean, I get
so that
cheese
was the
so
tank.
much, tasteless, that this is such a common thing to see. The tank has been exploded. There's a defiler there. The game truly is very close to over at this point.
Here comes the Dark Swarm. GG.
Sí,
Wow, all right,
Dark
well,
Swarm.
Heroes
Y ahí ya no le podía hacer nada.
a real
A
threat in this
ver,
tournament.
y
Right in the top right.
ahora el loser Gaemo.
I'm excited about this map, to be perfectly
A
honest.
ver, vamos a ver.
It looks cool. You get that kind of
Acá no, creo que no tenéis. No, sí tenéis forma de cerrar, hacer una muralla con proto.
6 bases on each side.
Oh.
Some really interesting terrain changes. You
Vamos
have
a
that
ver.
really interesting back base where it's like, oh, do you want to send multiple workers back there or something to try to kill off that cannon quickly? It's yeah.
¡Ay, qué vergüenza!
Yeah, it's gonna be
Son
fun to
lindas
see
las
what
coreanas.
kind of games this makes on a map like this. To be honest, I look at this map and I'm like not sure what to make of it.
Pero
I
viste,
feel like there's
cuando
enough,
las filman, se hace
variables
pero
that, like, I don't wanna
vergüenza
say
máxima.
definitively. Clearly,
Hasta los gallos,
you
viste,
can
se tapan.
expand
Protos
on
fighting,
this
go,
map.
Charlo.
The shuttle would be doing- It does seem like
Bueno, esto
all
tienen la
modern
costumbre, cuando
maps
entráis a uno
are
de estos
designed
eventos
to
te
be
pasan un
Protoss, you
plumoncito,
need to expand in
un
mind.
papel,
That does
y
appear to
estas,
be in this matchup
estas
anyway.
como
That does appear to be like an absolute
cuestiones para
necessity
pegar
in any
de
kind of
aire, así,
modern map, just to
para
get
eso les
Protoss
ponen
that option.
luces adentro, para las finales más que nada.
Yeah,
Entretenido,
yeah,
porque en vez de aplaudir para que se
about
escuche,
that. Like,
hace
I think
ta ta
that's
ta ta ta, y
actually
suena
across
súper
all the
fuerte.
races, like
Suena como cuando le
you
pegáis
can't
cachetada
really
a
one
una
base
lata.
to StarCraft anymore. If you do, it's like a crazy risk.
Yeah, if you
right?
do, it's like a very exceptional build. And it's not really like a build that you bring out several times in a row in most of these matchups. So, yeah, I mean, we've got a very early pool here from
Yeah,
Gamo.
and you see the double gas, which, by the way, I had
Pam,
actually missed. I was so busy
pa-da-dam.
focused on that back natural area, but that's really interesting. I actually wonder exactly how much is in there. You know that those are not 5,000 guys.
Yeah, usually they have one that's got, you know, like 1,000 or 1,500 or something in there.
It's
El baile, el baile. Soy pésimo para eso. Siempre me matan mi... ¿cómo se llama? Mi scout, el explorador, siempre me lo matan.
Is he got a pylon block here? No.
No. Tú
Tú
podrías haber puesto un pylon justo ahí para que tuviera que hacer la hatchery o en otro lado o matar el pylon. Ah, pero tenía los selling ahí, entonces no valía la pena gastar esa plata. Cuando tú construyes y cancelas, pierdes creo que la mitad o un cuarto de la vida. A ver, vamos a revisar.
Rush locations on new maps and see that pop up for a little bit. Like we saw like a lot of cannon rushes on Butter for like the first month.
Yeah.
And then it kind of goes away.
Yeah, they sort of go away after a while. Like
¿Cuánto mineral se pierde en una cancelación? En StarCraft, ¿no? Me salió como una...
That like there's all these little rules you gotta learn to master. So cannon rushes tend to be popular at the start and they kind of dry up.
Acá.
Si
cancela una unidad, ya, o sea, una unidad o una tecnología, eso no hay problema. Y un 25% se pierde de una construcción que se cancela. Es...
So, we don't know what Protoss really wants to do yet until the core is done. So we're basically waiting and watching for that. I do want to point out if you have three gases like you do here, even though the total gas that you're going to get in the game is the same because you can get a little bit
Ah, y estas tienen doble gas. Oh. Bueno, eso te cambia las estrategias pues cuando tenéis doble gas. Porque así podéis tomar una expansión sin gas y no hay problema. Sacáis el otro gas de tu base nomás. Yo siempre tenía asegurado acceso a 2 gases. Más el de la natural, o sea, 3 gases. Vamos, un Zealot. Oh, y me escondo aquí y te veo, I see you.
When you're playing this from the Protoss's perspective, like obviously you're trying to be careful with your minerals, but like every gas
se los va a pitear a todos.
as far as tech that you go for, it's like huge, man. And so having the third gas, and look, this may or may not be a factor. I don't know. This map is fresh out of the oven, right? Like, we're going to see a lot of...
Se defiende bien el ser.
By the way,
De los celos.
just to finish my thought,
Son difíciles de matar. Corre, corre, corre,
this
corre.
does appear to be a map that, as a Protoss player, you could power up on 2 bases and be even stronger than you normally are when you power up to 8 gates and
Sí,
push.
ahí afiro. Que se vaya nomás y que se muera.
Have, like, the observer speed
3-0.
and, like, 2 more Templars and, you know, maybe run
O sea,
an extra
no,
forge here.
es,
I
no
think
dejar de
the
hinchar.
map is perfect,
Ese es el
but I think
objetivo.
it's
No
gonna
dejar
stay.
de hinchar.
He's going to spot the Hydras here. And this
Pa'
is
no-
much less about the Protoss' mid game and more about the Zerg and Protoss' early game here because this attack's going to come
Bueno.
out very quickly,
Claro.
intending to tear down the
ver.
entrance.
Oh, tengo la ventana arriba.
This
Ahí, ahí sí.
Corsair actually pushing
Ahí
back
sí.
some of the overlords here that are
Que no se veía,
seemingly
no me había dado
in
cuenta.
position maybe to stop any DTs coming out to help
Mira,
against his Hydra.
35-35 está
But
bloqueado.
already we have
Oh,
this
le
man started.
bloqueó la
Like,
producción.
it did Shuttle scout this quickly enough that he's going to be able to
Niño,
just hold
corre,
it
corre,
easily.
corre.
It's a good question. The
No está
cannons are
tapado.
right up by the gates, which is not necessarily bad if he has enough there. Oh my God, he's going to do it again. He really likes to do this. This is so
Ojo.
cool. So, keep in mind.
No, eso no lo había
We
visto.
talked about this being a Hydra bust. I don't know that it's that as much anymore. This is actually a different setup for a
Y
container.
no lo ve. No lo puede
So
ver.
from the Protoss' perspective, there's a reason why the observer was blocking the vision here for the Protoss. It looks like this is an all-in, right? So you're basically just making cannons.
Sí,
but
porque
he's
un all-in.
not committed to tearing this down. He may tech to a layer and just make Lurker sunk and try to entomb the Protoss into his 2 bases.
I love this idea.
Oh,
Like, this is super cool.
oh.
And this is such an old way to play. I remember seeing people do
Oh,
this
yeah.
back in like 2005
Sí.
and stuff.
Ah, no, lo va a ver.
But he finally scouts
Lo vio.
exactly what he's up against.
Lo
now,
vio.
do you want to go Reaver against
Mi,
this?
oh,
Like, is that the
millones
way?
de millones de
I
caños.
mean, there's a
Dark
lot
Templar.
of, I think, healthy ideas about going for a Reaver, right? I mean, a Reaver can shoot down the Hydras. I think the problem is that I think the Reaver doesn't fare as well as you might expect. I think he actually was
está
making a rogue
bloqueado.
on his main, so the answer might be yes, but I just want to make it clear, like, the Reaver's not as obvious of an answer.
Eso no lo
as
había
you might
visto.
think it is.
Wow.
Right, so he's got the Reaver tech. He may try to shuttle out a DT here outside of the main and try to kill
Cáchala.
stuff. That's another good thing to do when this happens.
Y otro lo sigue hinchando.
Gamo's been pretty
Porque no tiene
right
muchas
with the
unidades. Po.
Overlords here.
Ahí tiene
Like, he's
60
barely
overlords.
got defense, but,
Ya están parejos. De nuevo, recién.
you know, the problem is
Iba a
that,
ser una Sunken
like,
Colony para pegarle el pylon.
on paper, the Reaver makes sense. It doesn't do as well against a wall of sunken colonies and Hydras. You know,
Claro.
it's the same reason why we don't
Sure.
early game see a
Va a
Reaver.
ir el drop
really
de un
bust
River
early game
para matar a
stuff,
todos
right?
los peoncitos en la cuncuna.
Yeah, no, it's actually really hard for the Reaver to attack into static.
Ah,
It's,
no, un
like,
Dark
not
Templar.
very good at busting things.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly buggy.
Ya,
It looks
aquí
like amazing when you're
lo que
fighting
se
it,
trata de
but then when
hacer
it's trying to do
es
weird stuff like either shoot
mantener
up
a los
ramps
Overlord
or
en la
try to
base
hit
asustados de las
colonies with
navecitas que los
cannons,
matan.
it'll
Y en la
bug
otra
out.
base que
Yeah.
no tiene Overlord,
I've definitely
ir con un
noticed
Dark
when
Templar
Reavers are
y que
attacking
mata a
something
los
south,
trabajadores de un
always
golpe.
walking
Entonces
away
no te
from
avisa
something, but
como
you have to
la...
be very careful about how to set it up. It's kind of like Guardians.
Y-
Like, when
pero
you
el
right-click a
loco cachó.
Guardian into like a turret, it oftentimes just floats right
Uy,
into it.
pero está en nada ese avión.
So the DT is out here actually doing a bit of
No.
harassment,
Oh.
and so that's doing a fantastic job. Now, Sunken's actually outrange cannons by
Oye,
half,
un puro Dark Templar.
like
Destruyó
half
una
of a
expansión.
pixel or whatever, right? Am I crazy
I'm
here?
sorry,
Don't they
can you
just
ask me that
slightly
one more
outrange?
Ahora va la oruga. Ahora va la
If
cuncuna.
I'm recalling this correctly, don't Sunken's outrange cannons?
Yeah, just barely
Like half
at
a
certain
matrix.
angles.
Cacha,
Yeah.
las lengüitas
yeah.
son un
it's
poquito más
not-
largas que los canones. Y hay un
It's
back.
not an ideal pairing. It's not like, you know, a tank and a cannon.
Se
or something, you
arrancó.
know what I mean? Where it's like you're always going to easily be outranging it. And so, sunken pushing is not
Cáchala.
really
Oye,
what the
pero
goal is here.
está bueno.
The goal is to
¿Eh?
contain. Now let's watch
Vamos a ver
Reaver
cómo
and
le
see
va.
if the difficulty of this is
Pum.
illustrated here.
Pum.
So a Sunken is like
Boom.
300 health, right?
Wow, so he already
Uy.
snipes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm crazy. I, for some reason, thought I heard the Reaver die. I don't know. That's COVID, man. I'm getting Reaver sound effects going. Same here.
Oye, pero...
Yeah,
Cacha,
that's-
con un
this is
puro
one of the
River.
side
Yeah, it's
effects,
one of the
actually.
side effects, dude.
¡Pum!
I'm like, no, Artosis, that's the
Boom.
vaccine. No,
Rayos.
now, he's going to come in here. He's going to try to do some damage to that. And, you know, it's a slog, man. It's a long uphill fight.
Ah, y el
trying
otro,
to
vamos de
tear
nuevo.
down,
Ah, no.
this. Now, I do want to point out, if he actually
Voy a hacerlo
breaks
más
this
atrás
open,
para que
this
no me
opens
peguen.
up. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Dos River.
It's
Tres
very
Rivers.
straightforward.
It seems he's going to. He has 2 more Reavers coming down right now. He's playing fantastically, right?
Well-
like, he's done so much harassment with a DT and 2 Corsairs at this point as well.
La
I
cagó.
mean,
Con unidades
here's the
mínimas.
thing,
Con
like,
dos, un par de corsarios.
There's so much creep that you can
Sale de aquí.
putting
Está.
colonies
Oh,
in.
no, no, no,
It's kind
no,
of this
corre.
weird thing, you know, the creep
Oh,
spreads out so much
oh, ahí se pidió
that
uno.
you do have a lot of room to keep making sunks. I will say he's
Lurker.
doing a good job. Like, I'm impressed. The problem is going to be when lurkers come into play here and Aspire finishes. Now, normally they come up this
Oye,
fast,
estoy
but
muerto
you
de
already have
sueño.
the objective to do this, which is why the Reavers, I think, have been effective so far. But when Scourge come up, Hydra speed, which is already here, by the way, with range, and Observers have to be here, that's when the Protoss gets strained quite considerably. And so,
The Lurkers are out, and they're being spread around, but he's broken most of the Sunkens.
yeah, but until an Observer gets here, he can just remake the Sunks. I mean, Sunks come very fast, right? This is one of the most frustrating things to play against is Protoss, actually.
Está brígido. ¡Pum!
Nice.
Immediately
Murió.
kills off that one. Very nice hit.
Oh, Lucas.
It looks like the Lurkers
Uy,
are
uy,
starting
uy.
to be a little bit annoying. He does have double robo, so the Observers start to come
Ahí hay
out.
observadores.
Be interesting to see if he gets both the Observer upgrades. I think that might be a very smart
Lurker.
situation to do it.
I think so. I think you want to have the range first, although I see a lot of people get speed. But I feel like the range you can kind of, especially with cannons here, you can kind of scoot it back into the cannons if you need to.
Esa es una buena contención.
Yeah.
Porque está en dos bases y no tiene para cuándo salir de ahí.
That's a very
Por
technical
eso está
army. I
tan
feel like I'm
desesperado.
watching the defensive iron or something right now.
So he just dives on these 2 Reavers.
Ya,
He
igual,
gets one.
bajó la
By the way,
cuenta.
the cherry on top in this position is to get 1 spore. And that's when I really feel like the Protoss...
Oh,
is,
mataron
you know,
un chatul.
It's a nightmare to try to get out of here because the spore's range is hilarious. And we
Boom.
may
The
see...
machine guns too. The Spore is a ridiculous
Ooh.
anti-air building.
Yeah, it's so powerful and fires so fast. It has such range. It's so much better than like every other defensive building in the game.
Yeah, it really
Estoy
is.
tan incómodo.
By the way,
Algo
he did
pasó
get
con mi
Reaver
silla.
damage upgrades. There's
Mi hija se
25
colgó ayer.
Oh, another Observer gets picked off.
Sonó
That's why you
crack.
gotta get those Observer
Así que a lo
upgrades,
mejor
man.
Yep.
la silla
You're
crack.
100% right about that. So
De a
he's
poquito va
mustering up
empujando para
goons.
afuera, pero está difícil.
Let's see if he can do the push here.
Está
A
difícil.
lot of it's going to come down to the obs. But I think you
Uh.
might be right, Artosis. I think he's kind of hacked and sawed his way through here. Now, Sunken Lurker, I mean, a lot of times this is how Protoss lose, just attacking into a base that looks like this, right? Keep in mind the main is going to
Brígido.
dry up. The natural's not looking too pretty as far as minerals go. So,
He should be able to take that back and expand eventually. I'm not
Ahí.
sure if those temples actually
Boom,
ever
boom.
got killed.
Oh,
I
Lurker.
can see
Ciao,
some
Lurker.
action there earlier, but here we go. Going forward once again after these Reavers. But there
No.
are Psy Storms here that could support. He picks up all 3 Reavers though and now backs up. I mean, this has not been cost efficient.
No,
He's
no, se
down
salvó un
half
Reaver.
supply from where Shuttle's at, but Shuttle
Ooh.
decides, let's go right now.
Dijo,
Throw
ya,
some Psy Storms
ahora.
down onto these Lurkers.
Vámonos.
And that is a lot of Dragoons.
yeah, and this may be the right number. You know, again, if he can just kind of chew his way through this, I think
Ese
he can
Lurker.
do it. And
Sí.
there are, I
Hay
think,
uno más arriba que
barely
también
enough
está
dragoons
pegando
if
y
he kind of
es
positions
difícil.
this
Tú
right
cuando
and keeps
vas a
maybe
golpear a una
penetrating,
unidad que
keep
está en un
bust
punto
out.
superior al tuyo,
And
tienes
again,
un
if you bust
25% de
out, the
probabilidades de no
circles,
achuntarle.
there's
Y es como cuando
nothing
esos
else you
golpes
can
se
do.
ven
The hatch is a
como
big
que
win
pegan
here,
un poco
by the
antes,
way.
es
All
porque
that
no le
to do,
achuntaron.
what a nightmare to
Le
block
pasa a
in.
todas las unidades que de rango que pegan a diferentes
That's
alturas.
terrible. I was wondering
También
where
cuando
the
estás
rest
debajo de un
of
árbol,
More
también
Hydras coming up
tienen
right
menos
now. Looks
probabilidad de
like the
pegarte.
Dragoon finally gonna make its way down, and with it the rest
A
of
ver
the
si se
reinforced
arranca.
army. Psy Storms on the incoming Hydras. Look at this supply of Game-O, man. Kind of a
Oh.
crazy game out of him. No real fallback
Well-
at this point. He is doubled in supply.
I mean, the whole
Ah, y ahí está haciendo la
investment
tercera
here,
base.
I'm kind of weirded out he did this when there is like a free base in the back. You know what I mean? I feel like this is the one map you wouldn't want to do this on, but yeah, I mean, the supply is so low because Gameo has invested literally everything he's had into trying to cage the Protoss in.
Okay.
And now he's going after those temples, so it looks like he wants to maybe attack the third base that's going to be taken by Shuttle, but it feels like Shuttle has an army that can walk across the map and kill him now.
Okay, so, I mean, I'm
Ay,
pretty
ay, ay,
confident that
ay,
this is
ay, ay.
over. I mean, you know, this is a 3-base Zerg.
O sea, recién logró defenderse. Ahora el Protoss al fin puede salir de su base. Lo logró. Una victoria para él. Porque tenéis todas las de perder al principio, como por los primeros 10 minutos. Y sobreviví y ahora empieza tu momento de ventaja. El mid game. Y el late game hay de todo.
You know, this is actually one of the older strats in the game that Zergs used to do. And, you know, we don't really see it in ASL, and we haven't in years, except for
el stream del tuto.
Lurker, Sun Contain, and maybe he's going to do that. It's always kind of fun when we actually get that right. But yeah, here we
va a ir.
The problem now is, I mean, the Protoss
Se decide por los Storm, las tormentas. Oye, qué buena tormenta. Buena tormenta también.
Right, against, you know, a pretty stale layer tech here. And so, yeah, I mean, this is over. This base is going to fall. Gamo's going to be the first player knocked out of Group B.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I mean, he is a very good player. That was a very scary situation, but I agree with you that this seems like it might be the worst map for that, especially with the 3 gas. It's like he went shuttle speed, Reavers off 2 robos, plenty of observers, Psystorm, Reaver damage. You know, he got everything, and it wasn't hard for him because he has 3 gases.
Tuto.
So he made mutas here too, which is I mean, it's kind of sad to watch, right? Like
hizo unos mutas, pero bueno, no hay Arcon que son directo counter contra los mutas porque pegan de área. Los Arcon son las pelotas de energía, que son los Templar. Va, no, bótalo. Oh, alcanzó a botarlo. Wow. Menos mal salvó a los Reavers. Y no. Rayo.
Now he comes out, he picks off a lot of the splash damage with these mutas, but there's not enough Hydras to kill off everything else.
Yeah, I mean, the Dragoons alone win the fight, right?
GG.
That's it. We have our first player eliminated. And
primer eliminado.
Barracks going at it again, the rematch, dude.
Muy bien. Chattel el primero en pasar. Aquí o sea, Chattel y Barracks. O sea, no, Chattel pasó a la final. Para ver el segundo que pasa.
So, yeah, I don't know why I can't remember the name of this map right now, but we had a map that looked very much like this, but this looks to be like a slightly updated version. Like I like the geysers on the outside.
Esta vendría siendo la final, porque el primer ganador ya pasó, que era Hero, y ahora Chattel. Debería pasar Chattel. O el mapa bacán. Es como de Star Wars. No sale cómo se llama el mapa.
What we were seeing a lot on this map previously was Protoss kind of taking some of these fringe bases and utilizing, you know, the strong shuttle play can kind of defend it, kind of harass the Terran a little bit. And
ya, me voy a tomar, porque estoy con mucho sueño. Vamos a adelantar esto hasta la parte entretenida. Ya, se encontraron.
We want to watch that Dragoon pretty carefully. The hull was damaged.
2 motos, 4 marines y un SCV. Tiene 2 dragones.
Nice pick off there. The probes coming out to fight. Poor Shuttle, man. He's having to fight with probes against these early pushes from Barracks. Some great targeting down on the probes. And I gotta say, like, those early units don't really matter that much for Terran, so that was nice. But his command center only just started. So even though that, like, in some ways looked good, the 2 Nexuses, like,
Ay,
He's
le
got
robó el gas de la
75
expansión.
second head
Más
start on
encima.
his second Nexus, which will
La wea
refill those
molesta.
probes easily.
Yeah, and when you see vultures like this, you know there's no tanks, so these Dragoons coming across are a real threat. Now that mine, that's pretty good.
That's
He's
awesome.
gonna have to eat that, yeah.
Oh, ¿qué?
They will be able to get up there. Oh, the mine's here, though. The mine's here.
Oh,
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 God.
oh, oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well,
Well, hold on a
one of them
second. You know,
lives.
a Dragoon could do quite a lot on its
A
own.
ver.
Yeah, you could easily win the fight against the Marine. The thing is, two
Oh, el
Dragoons
Marine
is
quedó
so
en uno.
much better than one because you can do that micro.
¿Cuánta
attack
energía
to
tienen los
cut
Marines?
down the
¿70?
mine.
¿75? ¿O 60? No me acuerdo.
well, here, this is
60
such
parece.
a wild opener from Barracks. I haven't
50.
seen anything quite like this. Like, to attack
Ah.
do that well.
¿Viste?
It
Petuto.
actually reminds me of the last game that we saw him against Shuttle, right? Where he actually way overmade Marines.
Ah, claro,
from
los
what we're
repara.
used to. It feels like he has found like these little chinks in the
Oh,
early
esto
game
pinta
where some
pa' largo,
extra Marines actually do a fantastic job. And I mean, both games we're seeing that. And now suddenly he's going to set up a Vulture drop as well.
Ya. No, este está muy
As
largo.
well, but
Quiero ver
I'm
quién gana
excited to
nomás.
see Shuttle kind of running around with some
Yum.
speed shuttles at this point,
Yeah.
right? Because
Claro.
that's
Ah,
where it's
estas
going to
no
get really strong.
eran
Now,
de ellos.
what do you think?
Eran
do you think he's
neutrales, que
making
son
a
pa-
Wraith right now?
Son como unidades destructibles para que podáis como abrir camino a través a medida que el juego va avanzando. En el StarCraft 2 esas están hechas con piedras, pero acá no era como que se creó después de se le ocurrió.
You're a lot less cavalier.
Out of here. Does he have a dragon
Uh,
with that? But
hizo unos Wrath para
the Arbiter,
defenderse.
not carrier.
Yeah.
It fits way better with Arbiter.
Ya, o sea, el mapa se va a partir por la mitad, la torta. La pelea va a estar o arriba o abajo.
It does seem like we've got a lot more to the
Y,
middle. Now this is
¿viste? Y
when
aquí
you put on
está
this
al
middle of the
medio.
map, it's actually high ground, low ground, high ground, low ground. The tiles are the high
Sí,
ground.
está fome.
Now this is a pretty stuffy spot here. But a pretty bad attack overall. And see how that Templar got shot down?
No.
It's kind of hard when you
Barracks
spam
le
everything
pasó
out.
por arriba, tiene
Storms
caleta de
off where you need. Now, you
tanques.
want ideally
Ni
the
siquiera
storms
los
to
tiene
land
que
on the
enterrar
tanks, but you
porque
take
va a
it to
avanzar
the
así y
ultimate
va a destruir,
vulnerable
¿viste?
or group that-
Ahora
that's what
explotan
you
así,
wanna be
explotan como,
Because the storm does
como
care about
monitos rellenos, como
No,
niños
it's
envueltos.
not. And now he does hit good storms, but they're late. If he had hit
Bam.
those at the beginning of the fight, this Terran army would already be dead. But instead, Shuttle is way down in supply right now.
A ver,
in here.
ya llegó hasta el final. La tendencia es a la pelea.
That's to your main
No,
base.
ya. Sí,
That's
GG.
it. Yeah,
Bueno,
Barracks
pasó-
does end up advancing. I
Chatul.
I think he played well.
Este
I
gallo
think
podría
there
haber
were some
llegado a
great
los
moves that he
cuartos
made, and he was
y
very
acaba de quedar
decisive with
afuera.
the attacks
Bien
both
por
times
Barracks.
against Shuttle.
Buena,
I do wonder if
buena loco.
Shuttle,
bacán.
you know, was,
Ya,
if
eso
he was
sería el
playing
día
his
2.
best as
Sorry
Barracks
porque me adelanté, pero
advanced
tengo
here,
mucho
and I feel
sueño.
like the answer is
Otro día
no.
con más
Like, it
ánimo.
did feel like both games,
Hola,
Shuttle was in good
Camilo.
enough positions that he
Otro
could
día
have
con
ended
más
up
ánimo
winning and
le damos.
just
Voy a ir a pegar
couldn't
una
quite execute
siesta porque
the
entro a
bus.
trabajar en 15 minutos.
Yeah.